Final Girl by DvmDv8. My life is neatly divided into before that night and after that night. Before that night, I was Lily, a rather plain Jane 20-something with a stoner boyfriend, a button nose, a philodendron, and a day job working at night. Nothing strippy, mind you. Not that I have anything against those girls, except maybe lust for their footwear and perhaps their foundation garments. Just stalking the Piggly Wiggly shelves while I waited for my big break. I had long envisioned my big break. In my head it was just like that, caps and all. As the moment someone, somewhere, with large sums of unused money, realized the submerged and inescapable genius that lay just below the surface of me, and they would pay me handsomely for it. Like that could somehow happen at the Piggly Wiggly in Greensboro, North Carolina at 3 a.m. in the green bean aisle. Or as I refer to it when working with Victor, my fellow Piggly Wiggly 20-something, the aisle of green beans. Coming from a broken home, take your pick, we had vices aplenty: alcohol, poverty, intolerance, bigotry, violence, rundown cars, nicotine, Funyuns, excess carbs. I realized that my future was likely to be dimmer than a broken TV at 2 a.m. But I still felt I was destined for something different, something grand, grander anyway, with fewer Funyuns and cigarette butts. I felt my big break looming. I was both right and wrong about that one, as it turns out. Here's the thing though, that big break, it turned out to be my femur on the ski slopes. I see the humor in it too, after the Vicodin kicks in. Fucking double black diamond. After that night, well, let's just say I'm still Lily, but everything else has changed. It's like the two broken ends of my femur, the before and after fit together like a surgeon sticking the sharp ends of bone together. But there'll always be a division and some scars. What happened that night? Glad you asked. I was recuperating at home after surgery. Fucking double black diamond, when I awoke to the sound of light scratching and tapping on the living room window. I had fallen asleep on the couch, lulled by the late-night Halloween horror fest on Netflix. Okay, fine. Maybe lulled by a few beers, Vicodin, and some weed too. Sheesh. What are you, a narc? Anyway, my mindset was already on open tombs, graveyards, and other horror movie tropes, so at first I thought the noise was the remnant of some Hammer horror-induced dream starring Christopher Plummer. But it was real. It was there. It was accompanied by a sibilant hiss that gave me a sick feeling in the pit of my stomach and made the hair stand up on my arms and goosebumps break out across my skin. I've seen enough horror movies to know what you don't do in these situations. The red shirt idiots? Fine, I'm mixing up my genres. Piss off, narc. Always end up breaking away to investigate the creepy sound, usually without a flashlight and always without a weapon. And then they go have sex. There are rules to these type of things, and when you break the rules, you end up either dead, eaten, undead, or dead and eaten. Here are the rules. There are few in number, and it's easy to follow. Number 1, don't investigate. I don't mean to crush your childlike sense of wonder, but the people who get killed in horror movies are almost always curious about something. What's that noise? Bam, dead. What's that moving over there? Splat, unalive. What's that swimming in the lake? Chomp, deceased. Number 2, arm yourself. I understand that there's not always convenient shotgun, machete, or phase plasma rifle lying about the place, but for the love of everything holy, don't go up against the unknown armed with only an amazing haircut or low-cut blouse. Have you seen the kids in these movies? Take a gun, a lamp, or a pitchfork and make a stand. When the bad things attack you, poke them with the sharp things or shoot holes in them and let all the stuff out so they die. Problem solved. Number 3, don't have sex. Kevin Bacon, I'm looking right at you. In horror movies, sex is death. It can be that way in the real world too. But it's usually either the slow and mucusy strangulation of your kids dragging you down for 18 years and then turning into psychos, or the still slow but not as much so death of some virus or bacterium coming through your naughty bits and eating your brain, a la HIV and syphilis. Not usually an arrow through the neck while you climax. So in the name of self-preservation, I did a few things. Number 1, I grabbed my boyfriend's brighter-than-he-is flashlight, which he dubbed Mary Lou Retina, after I told him mine were in danger when he shone it in my face. Number 2, I took the mace out of my purse. I know, not a weapon per se, but my phase plasma rifle in the 40-watt range was broken. Shut up, narc. Number 3, I didn't have sex. The last part was easy, since my boyfriend Calvin was visiting his parents in the Catskills while I cat-sat his cat, Killer, like you could cat-sit anything else. Opening the front door, I was relieved to see Calvin's smiling face, who I'd assumed had come home a night early from his parents' snooze fest of a house to aid me in undoing number 3 from my list above. Boy, was I wrong. The shitty part is, I kinda caused what happened. I invited him in. I don't want to blame the victim here, but since the victim is me, I guess it's okay. It's like they always say, vampires have to be invited in or they're powerless, and I went and did it. The fact that he broke the vampire code of contact, if there is such a thing, by pretending to be my boyfriend, is neither here nor there. I'm a vampire now, and I guess I'm gonna stay that way. A vampire with a limp and a button nose. A new trope is born. After it was done, in the vampire equivalent of "Wham Bam, thanks for your blood, ma'am," he was gone. I didn't even learn his name. Typical. In my defense, I did get a good squirt of mace in his face as he made a break for it, but I've also learned that mace doesn't work on vampires. Make a note of it, girls. Learn from my fail. Anyway, now, Killer and I are waiting here for my real boyfriend to arrive. Eternity is a long time, like forever I've heard, and I don't want to spend it alone.